Hey everybody, welcome to another model building workshop. I am Mr. Allen. I'm coming to you from my basement workshop here in Providence, Rhode Island, on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence. And today we're going to be looking at this old model kit here of the Heinkel He 100. This is by Lindberg, from the Lindberg line, as it says here, and some other examples of their catalog. And this is back from 1965. And I like how it says to use Lindberg plastic cement for the assembly. Quite the old classic box here. In pretty good shape considering it's older than I am. Yeah. So let's have a look. Here's the instruction sheet, which has seen better days, but it's still here. It's still workable. Look at the way they did this one with the photographs and text. Not at all what you would expect to see nowadays from a model kit, where the instruction sheets are generally just blow up diagrams with arrows and a whole bunch of different codes you have to decipher with the key that's on the page there for the don't glue here, cut here, fill here, all of those things. But this is all spelled out. And it does brag, well, I shouldn't say brag, but it does say in the back of the box that instructions are in several different languages. So English, Deutsche, or Deutsch, so for German, French and Spanish. So you have those options in here as well. Even though they have all of the text here, I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it's too difficult to figure out construction just by looking at those pictures there. It's a pretty straightforward, simple kit. Lindberg kits tended to be that way. Built a number of them when I was younger, because I found that, when I was a kid, these are pretty good kits to put together. They were fairly simple. The detail tended to be, but they were fun to put together for the most part. Sometimes you get one that would fight you, but so there's a lot of raised panel lines from these these old kits. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather, so I want to make sure you guys had some content. So yeah, very much raised rivet detail and lines. I mean, it's pretty good for the time period. This is 1965. Be careful, some of these parts are a little loose. Comes with a stand, as you can see there. Actually, I should probably get, I'll go up here this way, you see these parts a little bit better. Landing gear doors on the interior side of it don't have any detail at all. This is the seat here, which is pretty much just a piece of plastic in a L shape to use. There is a pilot figure that comes with this, which I'll show you in a second. He's on this sprue here. It's going to need a little bit of cleanup, but he's there for those of you who like pilots. And I find in these old kits that you might want to use them because there's absolutely no cockpit detail. And as I said, the seat is really just a L-shaped piece of plastic. That's it. So if you want to give it something to look at through the glass, you may as well put him in there, add some paint, and make it look as good as you can. Although I did notice there's a big sinkhole in his stomach. I don't know if you can see that there. You can either fill that or just other dark paint might cover that. I don't know if that's where the yeah, it's where the belts, the seat belts seem to be, or the harness. Anyhow, so those are the part details, such as they are. Oh, here's the underwing. underwing's a little... There's some heavy attachment points there if you want to put the wheels up, which might be tempting on a kit like this one because landing gear detail is pretty poor. Says if let's see if it says anything about the marking options. I think the decals are in this envelope. Got this on eBay recently, so I'm going to be careful with that. And I'm going to assume the decals are probably so old that they're going to be usable. But I'm not terribly worried about that because I do have some ideas of what to do with this kit. So it shows you the marking options there. Or option, I guess is more likely. It's what's on the cover of the box. It shows it too. Although this camouflage scheme is not accurate because this would have been in a splinter scheme of trying to see if I remember the colors correctly. RLM 70, 71, and 65, I believe. The light blue and the two shades of lighter and darker green, typical of the pre-war painting of the Luftwaffe fighters. Oh, fun. This has a price tag on the side from a Rexall drugstore. Oh, that's cool. Look at the price of 39 cents. Wouldn't it be great to get models at 39 cents today? It'd be awesome. But even at a good sale, you're not going to get that. Although, to be fair, I got this at a pretty good price on eBay. Sometimes you can. So the Heinkel 100 was a pre-war design. And I'll just read off the sheet here, and I'll fill in some details as I go here. It was classified as a high-speed research plane. Well, it was a test prototype for a fighter. And on March 30th, 1938, the HE-100 was flown at an average speed of 463 miles per hour to give Germany its first absolute airspeed record. So this is a record-setting speed for a German fighter at that time. For reasons that are not completely clear, the Luftwaffe did not adopt this aircraft. They seemed like they were totally invested in the Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighter at that point. This is kind of the same fate that befell the Heinkel 112. And it just seemed like the Luftwaffe High Command and the government decided that they wanted to put their faith in Messerschmitt to make the fighter aircraft and have Heinkel work on bomber designs instead. That seems to be a common thread that I'm finding on both this and the 112. Of course, there's nobody around to ask now from that time period is what actually happened there. But this plane, they figure about 19 of these things were built, and they were used mainly for propaganda purposes. And there's a lot of photographs out there of these, that were, photographed by the Germans to make it look like they had a lot of these aircraft, and they had made pretty much bogus squadron markings for them for the photo shoots. And there's one of them. You can see that emblem there on the side of the plane. And they had another one for a so-called night fighter squadron, which was also not exactly real. And there's another group that had a fun, like, lightning bolt zigzag with an arrow on the front. So there's a bunch that were out there, and none of these survived the war, and there's not a whole lot of information really out there on this plane. But yet, I think it was pretty nice that Lindberg made a model kit of it for this kind of technically an obscure aircraft So I think that's kind of fun. I think it's a really cool looking plane. Looks very sleek to me. I think this is going to be a fun, simple build. Like I said, I'm probably going to put these with the wheels up because I'm not a big fan of the, those underwing, wheel well details, and the struts and doors for this aircraft don't look very thrilling to me. And here's another look at that seat, such as it is. So I'm thinking this would be a fun project to just put together, do it wheels up. Maybe I'll use the stand. Hopefully the other part of the stand isn't here. You know what? I should probably open this up and find out what's in here. Give me a moment with that. I'll pause in just a second and see if I can cut this open, though I don't seem to have a knife handy. Give me one moment. We'll pause. Yeah, so inside this envelope were the decals, which look really awful. I don't know if the squadron marking, if that could be salvaged. I don't know. Maybe. And carefully trimmed, it could work. Although, like I said, I might try some of the other, fake squadrons. Try that, excuse me, and see if that will work. The glass piece was in there, which actually looks quite good, considering. I don't know if you can really see any of that, but the molding for the frames on the canopy are rather pronounced, and I think that's not going to be difficult for painting, which I would probably do that with a brush or maybe a paint pen. There are some out there. I don't know if I have one. Yeah, for example, it's a Japanese green here. I don't know if they have one for the Luftwaffe exterior colors. I think they got one for the interior colors. But anyhow, that doesn't look impossible for painting. And here's the other part of the stand, which does have the name of the aircraft on it. If you can see that. Not bad. So this could be a fun little desktop thing on the stand. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that is today's model building workshop. Looking at a fun kit from back in the olden days. So, there you have it. The Heinkel He 100. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.